So we're gonna finally try to get back to working on that bench. And if you remember last week, the different things that we did. And now this week we want to finish it. It has been a long, though, about 3 weeks. We had a couple of weeks in there where we were below 0 temperatures Fahrenheit. And then 2 days ago, we got 17 inches of snow here. And I've spent the last couple of days cleaning it up so I could get a workspace over here where I did my original cutting. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to use it though, because it's still so wet. But we're going to try to get this thing done today so I can get the video out. And I'll, as always, have my friends out there helping me. So maybe I didn't get at it that day, but we're going to do it today. So I've got to finish deciding my measurements on all of this, and I know that I'm going to have it 18 inches tall is what I know. So that's going to give me what my side cuts are going to be and all of that. Width wise, I'm thinking 42 to 46 inches. I don't want it too big, but I do want it big enough that 2 people can sit down on it. So we are going to get started on this. Oh honey, I know. Always need to be part of the whole show, don't we? So let's get some measuring done, and it's time to get to cutting. Oh, I left the big farm boss up at the cabin where I've been doing my milling, because this is just cross-cutting today. So I brought my Husqvarna back because it's a lot smaller and easier to handle. So we'll get started on this. So what we're going to do here is that I've got to square the ends, and this end is a little bit rotten. So I'm going to cut it back to where it's not rotten, and that's going to determine the length of the bench. So right now that's probably going to be around 42 inches is what I'm going to do. Once I get this end squared off, then I can square off the other end, but I'm not 100% sure on how to really square this thing other than eyeball it and kind of draw a line. Shoot, man. Or maybe I just cut and call it good. I have an old laser level, and I wonder if I can't shoot a line vertically across and then come to the other side, shoot it vertically across, and see where they meet on top. That's what we're gonna do. All right, you can line this up on that and see if it goes down the back straight. More this way. That's what we're gonna go with. There we go. forgot I had that. So that will do it. Oh yeah, that worked out. So now we'll measure back to where the rotten spot is, and I can measure from the corners now as well, and we could draw just a nice line across the top. So let's get that done. You know what? We're gonna go 40 because there's a little bit of rotting right here, so we're gonna shorten it up a tiny bit. So right here. Come over to this side. And back to this side. You know, the laser works so good, we're going to do it again. We did. Wow. Well, that's funny because the grain kind of twists around like this, so it gives you the optical illusion of this thing not being square, but it turned out really square, so I'm happy with that. It was smart to use that laser level to get it to this point. So now I have to cut 18-inch legs, is gonna be my next thing, and then I have to start measuring thickness of this, and then start cutting my other notches into it so it all comes together. So let's get to that part of it. All right, I used the laser again to make sure I got a square cut here, because I have to have flat bottoms and tops to my legs. Cut this, measure over exactly 18 inches, make a cut there, and then another 18, and we should be good. Beautiful. I love those cuts. Such pretty wood. Cleanup time. Okay, this is kind of what it's going to look like. It's being supported right now, obviously, by these other two boards underneath. So now I have to measure the ends, which is right here, and make them find out how much I have to chop off of this, and then how much I have to chop off of this, and then cut my notches from the top. So in essence, what's got to happen here is that this piece has to be slid all the way into the face here, lines up with the face right here, and there's going to be like a diamond shape cut right here that it slides right down into this. And this is then going to have the reverse, the negative of that diamond, I guess like this, cut from the top down. So now comes all the figuring, and I would say the work to make this happen. Then once that's done, I'm gonna get my belt sander out and I'm gonna sand this thing as smooth as can be and put a coat of varnish on it. Seven and 3/4, which means we're going to cut down here seven and 3/4. Notch that in. So before I can notch this way, I've got to cut my pattern on this. And I think it's going to go wide to narrow. So we have to find center. This is 15 1/4. So now let's go, how wide do we want to make this? 6 inches down to 4. How about we do that? So that's going to be the key. So now I've got to cut down on either side here and then in from the sides here at that level that we marked earlier, which was what, 7 and 3/4. So I'll transfer the lines down, 7 3/4, down 7 3/4, and that way I just take my chainsaw and just cut straight like that and then come in from the sides. All right, there we go. That is 4 out to 6, and it comes down the side here, and I've got it squared off here. So now I can just drop the chainsaw right into here, and we leave this on. This is all staying, but then we're gonna have to cut off this side here and this side here nice and flat. So I'll make marks at that 7 3/4 to make it work. Well, let's cut this, see if it worked. One side. You know, we're going to set this on end on here like this. Now cut down. All right, all I need to do is trace this and then cut a hole right down the middle to get this fixed up. Okay, let's cut that hole out and drop this in and see if it worked. Plunge cut, and we should be done. All right, trim these off and we're done. Oh crap, my battery died as I was just finishing leveling those out. So now I'm gonna sand it, put some nice big lag bolts in there, and we're gonna call it a really cool bench. I know you can't hear them, but those are Sandhill cranes returning because it's almost spring. Wow. So two last things I have to do to this. So to hold the whole bench together, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill a hole right through here that's gonna go all the way across and through, and then pound a wood dowel in there. So it's gonna be still made completely of wood. I'll do the same thing to the other side, but that'll keep those legs from going anywhere when I do that. Unfortunately, I can't do it till I get back to the cabin because that's where my 1/2-inch long bit is. Then I still have to varnish the thing, and I'm gonna put a clear coat on it so it's nice and smooth to sit on. Probably a semi-gloss so it's just not that slippery finish. But I think it turned out great. I think looking at it, the colors are nice on it. And now just what we need to do is test and make sure it's comfortable for the family. Well, that's gonna do it for this video. I know it was a two-parter, and I know it took forever for me to get part 2 out, and I apologize about that. Just with the weather, the cold, not feeling well, there was a bunch of stuff that went on, and boy, I need a little bit of a beard trim here, don't I? But anyway, hope it gives you some ideas on what you can do. Yeah, did mine turn out perfect? No. Did I know what I was doing when I started? No, absolutely not. But you know what? Doesn't matter. I got something done that we can use for my family next time. I've got some experience and I can just keep getting better at it. So like I always tell you, get out there and do it yourself.